All right, Naya Feather, huh? Naya, for those new to Magic, refers to the color combination of green, red, and white. The feather part of this deck refers to this card, Feather Redeemed. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, you exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves, and then you bring it back to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. We combine Feather Redeemed here with Defiant Strike, God's Willing, Sheltering Light, Reckless Rampage, and Domri's Ambush as ways to replay these spells again and again and again. Then we also have cards like 10th District Legionnaire, as well as Dreadhorde Arcanist that generate value and just power-ups, along with our cheap cards here. Season of Growth is kind of like Feathers 5 and 6. It's another card that gives us value when we're targeting our creatures with various things. And then we've got Paradise Druid as a little bit of mana fixing, as well as a little bit of acceleration. One of the really nice things that Paradise Druid enables in this deck is you play Paradise Druid on 2, and then turn 3, you play Feather, while still getting to hold up God's Willing or Sheltering Light to protect Feather, since Paradise Druid provides a 4th mana on the 3rd turn. Let's go ahead and hop on into some matches with this one and see how it goes. I felt like this deck is pretty reasonable in Historic. Feather as a flying threat allows you to literally go over the top of Field of the Dead. And then you can also just, like, run them down if they don't get online too quickly with your ground creatures. I mean, Moment of Triumph is good against aggressive decks just like Healing Grace is. I do limited on Magic Online for a $100 donation. And yes, that price is high to discourage people from donating for it all the time. That is a fantastic draw. Paradise Druid providing some very critical color fixing here. Gets to deploy 10th District Legionnaire. Perfect. I don't believe I have that one, Elvish Reclaimer. I'm going to keep that on top. Reasonable chance we have to play God's Willing next turn. This is also useful against Questing Beast, and God's Willing is not. I would love a code for it. Feel free to DM me. I think I'm okay with that, honestly. That's exactly what I said, Delta. I think I'd just do this and pump up the jam so we can race them here. Stellar. You'll love to see it. Can you crowdfund? Limited. Negative. If you want to crowdfund it on your own and then have one person make one donation, that's fine, but I don't want to track it individually. Cleave ho! Yikes. So kind of hoping to draw an untapped land this turn. Oh no! Oh, it's the Monkey Paw untapped land. I needed an untapped white source. Oh, stupid, stupid Monkey Paw. It's stupid, stupid. Should have been more specific, chat. Should have been more specific. The devil is in the details, chat. And we're actually just dead to this, right? So I can block and give this Indestructible, but the way Indestructible interacts with Double Strike and Trample is this will only have to assign 5 damage to this, so they'll get to trample over for, oh, are we alive by 1? We'll block 6. Okay, yeah, we're actually alive by 1. Yeah, okay. So we can draw a removal spell next turn, get 2 scries at it, to get 3 looks. God's Willing. God's Willing actually does it. So again, just because Magic is intuitive and easy to understand, the way Protection and Double Strike Trample works, with Protection, they have to assign damage to my thing twice. So if they attack this turn, I block God's Willing, gain pro red, and I live. My creature lives. So again, Protection and Indestructible interact differently here because on each strike, they have to assign damage. And Indestructible retains damage marked on the creature, whereas Indestructible retains damage marked on the creature, whereas Protection does not. Why on earth did they bring back Protection? Asking the real questions. Yeah, Feather would have let us live, but would have required a double block, which wouldn't have been ideal. Look up True Name if you want a headache. Dead to a Stiff Breeze here. If we just find anything that targets our creatures at instant speed, though, we can be off to the races real quickly. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. T-Master Ray, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. Do 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 do. I actually don't need a second Reckless Rage at this point. I'm actually just going to pass here because I just don't want to die by mistake. Like, if they don't peel a burn spell here, they should be dead next turn. Alright, Reckless Rage is great here. Moment of Triumph is good. Spellbreaker's fine. Trimming at least one God's Willing is fine here because it doesn't play well against their, what's it called that I talked about? Questing Beast. What do you replace for Robber in the sideboard? You don't have Robbers the Rich? Legion Warboss is fine there too. Gideon's fine. More Adanto Vanguards is fine. You want this? This slot is for an extra threat against control. You think I'm trimming Season of Growth here? We usually don't need the extra card advantage in a matchup like this. Normally, probably Knacker. During a time like this where you're supposed to be social distancing, no, it is not. This is a mythic. It totes is. That is kind of obnoxious. Let's try Dreadhorde Arcanist. It's a little bit hard to attack with this on average. Let's do that. I'm bringing in 2 Gruul Spellbreaker, so trimming a different threat is fine. Is it crazy to mulligan this? It needs a white source. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this. Like, no plays till 3 is light on land. Yeah, let's keep this. I'm gonna bottom a God's Willing here and just be more threat-based. Panini press. Ooh, that's a good idea. When Christy goes shopping next week, we have a Panini press. That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, Ogre Tribal. Are there really 0 basics in our deck? Yes. I love Naya Feather with Standard. It's nice to see you play it. How would you say its performance is historic? I like this deck a lot. This is one of the many historic decks, Chiller, that you can find up on my website. I think it's been reasonable for like the entirety of the format. That's unfortunate. So we really want to draw an untapped land next turn now, so that way we can Spellbreaker, Defiant Strike to trade here. I did not Ace Tiger, but Christy watched it, and she said there wasn't really anything in there that we didn't already know. Christy and I have been, like, stayed pretty plugged in during this whole thing. On top of information, stuff like that. I don't know. I felt like I actually watched him talk on Trevor Noah. I watched Trevor Noah too, and he talked about Trevor asked about takeout, and he gave kind of a shrug off. Yeah, this is mostly fine, but at the same time, he did also talk about how things retain on surfaces for a few hours. So like I felt like those bits of information were at odds with each other. With like the information that he was presenting, like the takeout's fine, but this is something that can retain on a surface for a while. I felt like those two things, like, you know, like I don't know. At the end of the day, for most people in the United States, most people in the world, takeout is not essential. And I get it that people want to justify their desire to get takeout food. I get it. I used to eat takeout a lot. But like it's not an essential service. It's just not. My hot take is that Nexus is fine and historic because LJN printed 2 powerful flags. I agree, Space Harry. We've talked about that on stream a number of times before, recently too. If we get to untap here with Reckless Rage and Sheltering Light and Feather, we're going to be in a real good spot. I'm just going to assume that was an attempt at a timeout request. So, I don't think we're dead to Cleave here. And they're out of red mana, so we'll just kill this. Oh, this kills my Dreadhorde Arcanist, right? That's fine, though. Oh, you know what? I could have done this to scry at my upkeep, right? Things to think about. Hello, youngest son. How are you doing? You having a good Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are you and Mom been doing?
We're not playing a game, we're just watching a show.
You're not playing a game, you're just watching a show.
Well, I want to play a game with mine. Where's this watching? I want to watch a show.
Oh, your life sounds
I
rough.
want to watch Pop. When you're done working, I could play a game with you.
Daddy can't play games today. Daddy's working extra long, okay?
Well, you could play a game on the end of today?
Maybe at the very end. Mommy said she would play games with you today. Did you ask her nicely?
Okay.
Okay, Mommy said she would play games today. Close the door behind you. I love you. Close the door, child. Yeah. I just wonder, people who need takeout have never been students. Yeah, like, and honestly, and this is even less extreme than takeout, but a lot of people tried to make the argument to me that, like, you need to cook to be able to have life-sustaining sustenance. And, like, as someone who lived on peanut butter and jelly, canned vegetables, cheese, and crackers for, like, the better part of undergrad, it's not like you're not eating delicacies, but, like, you know, you live eating those things. Canned fruits and vegetables. He did close the door. Making progress. Alright, let's try and draw some lands, huh? Ding. I think I'm supposed to play this rather than this, because I don't want to play Arcanist to get, like, main deck Maelstrom Pulsed. I think Yarok Field's pretty good in those matchups to Monger. I like Yarok Field against most of the field. Yeah, frozen vegetables too. Frozen vegetables are closer to requiring cooking, though. Everything else I just listed that I mostly ate during undergrad doesn't require the ability to cook. Look at that. Played around that masterfully. There's a specific reason I want the door closed. Yeah, the rest of my basement is colder than my office. Also, noise from them travels from upstairs more if that door's open. They put quasi-duplicate in their deck. Yep. So the play here is like ambush this, attack, ambush this. They get to put a thing back on top, but I have a God's Willing if they floop a removal spell up here. We crack them for 7. Domri's ambush really showing some of its strength here. Yeah, it could be an elemental build. I don't believe there is a gender-neutral term for a combination of aunts and uncles in English. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that I've heard one of those used before. Yeah, relative is more generic though, right? Like aunt and uncle is a specific relation. All right, so we don't really know what they're doing. Is it crazy? I think I'm just gonna click submit. I'm just gonna click submit here. Easy mulligan. Hand sucks keep, I think is probably accurate. That's exactly what we wanted. We get to play Feather with God's Willing up here on 3. Which is just perfect. Excited to get Aether Gusted. We'll take a do-over next turn. Your own fault. I did will it into their hand. That's true. I shocked in the land tier. Friendo. Stop it. Bad Sultai. The gods have willed the feather to live. Please don't play a third removal spell. Please don't play a third removal spell. Please don't play a third removal spell. GG! Is this a concession ambush? Feels like a concession ambush. Oh, maybe I should have ambushed using the Druid. Nah, I probably want to get this big enough to kill a Cavalier of Thorns. Yeah, this is free. Might as well. Technically missed a point of damage. My friend. Alright, Elvish Reclaimer sent me a code 4. Fancy sleeves. Let's get fancy sleeves. Ooh. Should we put those on? We should. Let's put those on. I might make that the new default, actually. You're required to select a target for a second aim, which you are. It does not say up to. Nice, Bruno. If you're someone that's a fan of Historic, by the way, and you're a subscriber on the channel, I'm currently in the process of talking with the folks who made the MTG Melee tournament site to put together a subscriber arena tournament. The requirement for playing in it will be that you're a current sub on the channel and that you're in the subscriber Discord server with the ability to stream your match via the Discord server. So rather than expecting everyone in the tournament to stream on Twitch like a lot of people have been doing for coverage, I'm just going to select a feature match or two each round and ask the people in those matches to live stream their match, just their arena via Twitch. So you won't have to like fumble with OBS or anything like that. You'll just click go live and select your arena window on. The timing likely to be European friendly. Depends on what you define as European friendly. It'll probably be start early in the AM on the US on a weekend. I think I keep this. Could go either way. If we find any creature that works with Reckless Rights of Hand's really good. Modern is, or Historic is kind of being set up as like the legacy or vintage of Magic Arena. All cards that are legal in Magic Arena will be legal in this format. I believe my server has Nitro Boost because I'm a Discord partner. I'll have to double check though, Andrew. Full details. I'll probably make a blog post on my website fully detailing it when I work out with MTG Melee what exactly I have to do and when we'll be able to do it. But just as to give people a nudge to jump on into the Discord if they haven't before. That's what we'll be coordinating feature matches through. And if it's something that goes well, it's probably something that we'll do with some consistency and we'll be able to rotate through different days and stuff like that. You hit level 49 in Raid, I believe in you. Get to level 50. I would like an Ancient Shard. You can do it. Swiss rounds or double elim. I think we'll probably do double elimination if Melee supports it, just so it doesn't take as long. I think double elim makes the most sense. Just because it reduces logistical issues and delays as the tournament goes on. Yeah, did they? I don't know if they disconnected. Did their timer go all the way down there? They definitely missed attacking, but I don't know if they DC'd. I'm hoping that I can finagle it. Yeah, it'll definitely be open deck list. I'm hoping I can finagle it so if I have both people stream their arena to Discord, I can splice together an overlay so people watching can see both players' hands. I think that should theoretically be possible, assuming I don't have any hardware issues with running that many streams and capturing and rebroadcasting myself. my hardware should be able to handle multiple video streams like that, I believe, especially if I'm not running an actual arena application myself. Now it looks like they DC'd. Yeah, I should theoretically be able to emulate, like, what Wizards does at, like, the Mythic Invitationals in terms of coverage. Historic is easily my favorite format in Magic right now. You know, I think I really need to, like, sit down and just make, like, a 2-minute video talking about why Historic has a lot of potential and is currently my favorite. Why not just use the spectator mode, right? I'll put that on my to-do list. I could probably do that Tuesday when I'm off again. Look at that, I finished my last to-do list on Friday. I'm so good at this. What was I gonna say? A shout out, by the way, looking at my to-do list, I remembered something I did over the weekend. Shout out, by the way, to my ISP Metronet, who's great, who's hooking me up with a free static IP address for the next year because of all the nonsense that's going on. I don't need it because of the nonsense. I want it for my streaming stuff, but they're not charging for the next year to add that feature to my connection, which is great. We are going to play Slay the Spire at the end today. I did some debugging on Friday, yesterday, and the day before, Thursday night, and I think this is me spitballing after doing a few things. I think the reason why my internet connection randomly drops out midstream once every couple of weeks might have to do with the dynamic IP address assigned to my line refreshing while I'm live. Because if you're a technical person, you might find this interesting. I was testing OBS and, like, connection disconnects, and when I'm streaming with OBS and I manually disconnect my network cable and then plug it back in after 60 seconds, OBS reconnects without an issue, without requiring a restart. However, when it drops out sporadically due to my connection, OBS can't reconnect, and I have to hard refresh all of my other connections. So I think something must be changing on the back end of the internet connection coming into my house for that to be the case. Really wanted to draw a land there, so that way I could Season of Growth plus Reckless Rage. I think I'm supposed to just Defiant Strike here. This triggers when it enters the battlefield, right? Yeah, so I can just Reckless Rage a response later. Speaking from a network engineer point, you need to rest your home connection every week so that you sync your account when you want it to not, then it expires. Yeah, but if I have a static IP address, that should just, like, not be an issue, right? Like, having a static IP address should also address that same thing. didn't have to shock in there. Do I want to draw 2 with this? I think I want to draw 2 with this. I kind of want to hit a white source for next turn. Yeah, perfect. Have the Thalia's been worth in the sideboard? I think so. Thalia's decent against control, and she's decent in the breach matchups. She's a little bit awkward on our side of the board, but she's also just like reasonable. What's the word that I'm searching for? She's reasonable in other places. She slows them down more than us generally. So I think I do this and then I pass here. I think I plan to block and then God's Willing to protect my creature. Paradise Druid's very good. She provides some much needed color fixing in our 3-color deck, and the ability to play Feather Redeemed on 3 with a protection spell up is very good against decks that are going to have some amount of interaction. So we really need to find a Domri's Ambush or a Reckless Rage here. So I'm going to go ahead and God's Willing to scry 1, draw a card at end of turn here. Although, not in that order. Face Masker, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Scry 1, bottom that. I'm going to go ahead and attack with this. Play Defiant Strike here. What's the too strong deck in this round? I don't think there's any decks that I would classify as too strong at the moment. This takes 5 Merfolk to put 1/1 counters on things. Yeah, but scary is a far cry from too good. One of the things that's appealing and good about this format, in my opinion, is that there are a lot of different things that are strong. Having lots of uniquely powerful play patterns is fun. Having lots of strong decks to play is good for the format. If they find a Lord here, they can smack us down to 4. But if they don't find a Lord here, or sorry, they can smack us down to 3. I might want to scry during my upkeep. Now, I probably don't need to do that since I'm drawing cards. They just didn't attack with anything. Well, that's so good for us. Old Tricky Dick. I guess they don't know about this God's Willing, huh? Looking for that sweet, sweet Reckless Rage here. Looking for Reckless Rage or another copy of Domri's Ambush. Triple BTE into Spellbreaker on 2 is bordering on too good. I'd say it's bordering on high variance. That is unfortunately a little bit too late here. So I can't Unfortunately, also have to discard to hand size here. Very, very unlucky this game. Having to move to hand size. It's so sad. Look at all these cards I have to discard, chat. Look at them all. It's so sad. Such a waste of cards. They were so young. Feather really does a number on these creature decks that have low volumes of interaction. We need a Reliquary Tower. Listen, my deck doesn't even have room for a basic land, much less a Reliquary Tower. Hellrider. It's a name I haven't heard in a while. Oh, Domri, you're a rude dude, Mr. Domri. You're a rude dude. I love this deck too. Pew pew, pew pew pew. I mean, it's only absurd because, like, they're still playing Magic when they, like, lost this game 6 turns ago. This game's been over for a while now. We are playing Slay the Spire today. Mr. Punchworthy hooked us up. Alright, so Flame Sweep, Reckless Rage, easy ins. Probably Moment of Triumph too, it's just like a combat trick and a way to gain life. I like Spellbreaker as a slightly bigger blocker. Do I actually? Maybe I don't. More 3-drops might be great. I feel like Season of Growth is not good. I've never played Slay the Spire before, period. Sheltering Light's probably not super useful here. So I installed it on Steam last night and launched the loading screen to set up my scene, but you will see me play for the very first time. Can you deck yourself? I mean, you can theoretically deck yourself. Usually you win the game before that happens, though. There are full arts available for these cards. I don't think so. I like this deck, and I usually check for foils on it. You can, yeah, we'll see, Percy. It's hard to tell what numbers will be like. Usually for non-Magic games, they're not particularly high. I also might have one of the kids come down and hang out and play with me when we get to that later, just because since it's a single-player game, I don't have to worry about, like, a timer bearing down on them. Which would be nice. Slay the Spire is very popular. Yeah, the way it kind of works though is that it's not just the popularity of the game too though. Like my audience is primarily a Magic audience. So like whenever I stream any non-Magic game, even if it's a popular game, usually the viewer counts are low. As a non-variety streamer, that's just like a reality of it. Yeah, there's always the answer to can you give me money is always yes. The thing you have to answer is how much though. Like, Punchworthy to finish the stream off with it today paid my normal sponsored stream rate that like companies pay me to play their games. I think I gotta protect this here. Correct, yeah. I don't know, I just like don't have a strong desire to be a variety streamer either. Like, I like Magic, and like, there's definitely enough to do with Magic on average that like, you can fill plenty of hours with just Magic stuff. Reegery's gonna do a number to us here. This is it. This is your moment to triumph, Bonecrusher. I believe in you. Yeah. Yep. And that's one of the reasons why Magic is such a popular and successful game, honestly, is Magic's not just a game, right? Like, it's a lifestyle. Like, there's so much to do with Magic. Magic's not just one game, it's a rules engine to play lots of different sub-games in. In fact, most of the non-Magic games these days that I play off stream are ones that have mobile support because that's the appeal is not having to be on my computer. Like, most of my computer gaming time goes to Magic. Slay the Spire has, they released on Switch, right? There was a Switch variation. It's getting a mobile port. Okay, that's sweet. It's already on Switch, right? Okay, so now I get to attack with this and get God's Willing here. Oh, wait, did I just die? No, this is the only unblockable one, right? Maybe I should have gotten Moment of Triumph here to gain life with. This, God's Willing, preventing my things from being tapped by Reegery is really appealing, though. Oh, I should have made this pro-blue, right? I would have lost a Scry, but I would have kept my Dreadhorde Arcanist. Yeah, I probably should have done that. I don't know, I wanted more Scries, because like if I find a Reckless Rage or a Domri's Ambush, I get to run away with the game. That's close. Do I just let this happen? I think I just let this happen. So I'd much rather target, like, 10th District Legionnaire to get extra scry in and make it bigger. Kind of surprised they're not targeting Kumena. Yeah, they miss lethal here, right? Because if they would have targeted Kumena, they could have tapped, they could have put 2 counters on Kumena here, and then tapped these other 5 merfolk to make it, oh, they could still lethal me, right? No, because they can't make it bigger and unblockable at the same time, right? So if they would have put this first counter on here, this could have been a 6 with unblockable. And it could have killed me here. I think the Merfolk deck in this format's actually really good for what it's worth. I think we're just dead here at this point. Jinja Ninja. Thanks for the 23 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Kinda needed them to not have double Merfolk here. So I'll get my God's Willing back at the end of their turn. I get to scry. During their upkeep. Or during my upkeep. If we draw Reckless Rage, I can kill 2 things, block 2 things, and still die. So I think we're on the 0 outer. Kumena also makes itself unblockable, right? If I had saved my Dreadhorde Arcanist the turn before to be able to flashback Moment of Triumph there, I could have been okay. I greatly prefer the current state of Historic rather than Pioneer at the moment. In my opinion, Pioneer currently feels like they repeated every mistake that they repeated with Modern. Not only have they printed a bunch of obnoxious combos into Pioneer, but past that, just being combo-based isn't a problem. The fact that it's combo-based now and they didn't unban things is the problem. The fact that Historic has had not only bannings, but also unbannings in such a short period of time is a huge boon and positive for the format, in my opinion. I don't think it has anything to do with taking Pioneer seriously or not, TDM. I think the issues that have happened with Pioneer, in my opinion, are things that happen with most of their formats. Their suspension's not banning, totally different. Yeah, totally different. Yeah, I agree, Bruno. Well, and again, I just really want to highlight for people that come in partway that my problem with the current Pioneer format has nothing to do with it being combo-based, because you definitely could take issue with that. My issue with the current Pioneer format is that in addition to letting it become combo-based, they also didn't unban the sweet combos. Like, I'm fine with the format being combo-based. Like, that's fine. But just, like, let me play with Field of the Dead and let me play with Felidar Guardian if you're gonna make the format be combo-based. Like, why do other people get to play with their toys, but the cards I enjoy playing with have to stay banned? Yeah, why is Smuggler's Copter banned? Why is Nexus of Fate banned? It definitely feels like they have a Spell Pierce. I think Oko being unbanned would probably be fine. I think Oko being unbanned in Historic would be fine too. In my opinion, Tantrums, decks like Nexus of Fate, so long as they are not the best thing in the format, are fine decks to have exist. The issue is when Nexus of Fate is the best deck and the spikes feel obligated to play it, that's when I tend to take issue with it. Yeah, I agree. Field of the Dead is a natural predator to Oko. Honestly, I think a lot of these standard mono-red decks would even beat these Oko decks. Yeah, one of the things a lot of Magic players don't always get is that the things you hate playing against are the exact things that other players just love. The things that you find tedious and bad about Magic, that's the thing that other players, that's what they want to wake up and do in the morning. Yeah. Alright, would you like to Spell Pierce me? I'm gonna flash this back with Dreadhorde Arcanist next turn, so that's fine. Just want to use my white mana and, like, get this Spell Pierce out of their hands here. Oh, crap. I forgot to do this during their main phase. I messed up. So I did this at their end of turn, which means it doesn't come back till my end of turn. Awkward. Are they dead? Pro green, pro blue, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I would have gotten this back, they'd be dead this turn. Mistakes were made. So I could have killed them this turn if I would have cast Moment of Triumph at the right time last turn. There's no cards in my graveyard to flash back with Arcanist, chat. Unban, Field, and Oko equals better standard, in my opinion. No, unlike most people that try and make predictions about Magic, I'm not going to pretend to tell you that I know with certainty this thing's going to be better or worse in a game that's really complicated like Magic. I think there's a chance that standard could be fine and still balanced with those cards coming back. I also don't expect them to ever actually unban either of those things in standard. Like, that's not how Wizards operates. But I think, and this is again one of the reasons why I potentially really like Historic, is it seems like they're willing to take risks in this format because it's all digital. So I think there is a chance that we could see Oko get unbanned at some point in Historic as a test run. Because if they do it as a test run and it messes stuff up, it's not a big deal because it's all digital. Yeah, we're doing that right. We're doing that right now, Weemiggy. Yeah, I could God's Willing twice to make pro green, pro blue. I could kill their green creature, give it pro blue. A lot of right ways to eat this, Reese's. All right, let's do one or two more with this, depending on how long they take. Then we'll roll on into some Grixis Breach before we close out with some Slay the Spider Day. How the Robbers felt. We've not played against any blue-white control. They honestly might not be necessary in a post Field of the Dead World wargame. They were a card that I added to the board when blue-white control was more popular in the format, and Field of the Dead has appropriately edged that archetype out for the most part. I mean, so people are making jokes about a potential Historic Horizons in chat. If you think about it, Historic gets a Historic Horizons every 3 months. If you look at the number of cards from Modern Horizons that were playable in Modern, and you look at the number of Historic Anthology cards that are playable in Historic, it's very similar numbers. Like, directly printing 20 or 25 playable cards into the format is very, very similar to just doing a formal set release. Alright, Red Source, Cleave, kill me, I assume here. We have Domri's Ambush dead. Not having our first play, beat till turn 3 on the drop. Too slow against an aggro deck. Reckless Rage is good. Moment of Triumph's good. Extra Spellbreakers are good. Seasons of Growth is slow. Dreadhorde Arcanist is slow. I need Hagak in Historic, please. I also, and again, maybe this is because I just haven't appropriately had all the optimism beaten out of me yet, but I would like to think that if they printed a card from a Historic Anthology into this format, and it ended up creating a Hagak-like issue, they would be more responsive to fixing it than they would in paper, because there's less direct profit motives tied to that Historic Anthology, right? There's less cost to people who bought those cards. They don't have to worry about hurting the market like they often worry about in paper. If I hadn't drawn this untapped land, this 4th land, I would jam Feather here on 3. But I think because I drew the land, it's definitely correct to just wait a turn. Because if I get to untap with this card, the game likely ends on the spot. Does WotC give anything when a ban happens? Yes, if they ban a card on Magic Arena, and that card hasn't already been banned previously, they give you wild cards equal to its rarity. Sure, that's what I meant, Tobias. Sorry if that wasn't clear from my phrasing. If you've not received wild cards from a card being banned previously, you get wild cards when it gets banned. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. Well, I mean, you know this card is here. And you know the God's Willing is here. So I'm not quite sure how you expect this to go. Always Tantrum, always. YOLO! If we hit a green source, this hand's very good. I would love to Glory Bang in Historic. It sounds truly wonderful. We got redraws now. Oh, right, we're getting Amonkhet remastered. We totes should get that for Amonkhet remastered. Yep. All right, down to 14. Need an untapped land again here. Dead. Feels dead. Yeah. Would Remand be too obnoxious? Probably not. All right, that was quick. Let's play one more. Gruul with Glory B will be very good. Torch of Defiance was one of the Kaladeshes, right? Yeah. Wait, not a green source. Our 5's very good, so I'm going to keep this, but if we get a green source, the hand's great. It's more than good. It's great. Pinogram, thank you for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Happy Saturday, by the way, everyone. Thanks for dropping in today. If you're one of my regulars and you weren't here last weekend and you're surprised to see me on a weekend Hoaglandia is going to be the new norm. So until my children go back to school in the fall, I'm going to be live every Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to be taking off 2 days during the week. As always, if you can't catch me live, everything ends up on the YouTube channel. So I assume that they won't have an actual option to play Pioneer on Arena until more of the sets are available. I assume for the first little while, whatever Pioneer cards they put into this platform, they'll be, whatever Pioneer cards end up here, they'll just be in Historic until more of Pioneer is there. Howdy, Ghost. If you stomp your own creature with Feather out there, it does, in fact. Well, shoot. I believe we've died. That's fine. I didn't like that board anyways. It's no big. We get to flashback a God's Willing on here next turn, get a little scry action. Yeah, looks like Bant Nexus probably have some sweepers in their deck, possibly Teferi. I think it's worth buying packs to get cards from older sets I don't already have. I looked at the other day and I have hardly any Ixalan and only a little over half of Rivals. I think if you need cards from those sets to build decks, it's probably worth getting packs of them rather than spending wild cards, but I wouldn't just arbitrarily fill out your sets just to be a completionist. If you have the funds, I would always recommend buying the largest gem amount at $100 a pop if you think you'll spend that eventually and you can afford to upfront it now, but I wouldn't necessarily feel obligated to like spend all those gems on packs right away unless you need cards from them. How's the start going? Good. I like this format a lot. I've had a good set with Naya Feather. One of my favorite types of decks to play in Magic are aggressive decks that draw cards, and this deck definitely fits that motif really well. Are we about to get Settler Wreckage? That could be a card they're splashing white for. Is Settle. This is a lethal Spellbreaker on top next turn. So they only have 5 cards in their bin at the moment. So I'm gonna play with fire a little bit and not kill the Teferi, because if I ignore the Teferi, they can't escape Uro at the moment. If they cast an instant or sorcery here, I'm gonna kill Teferi because they'll be able to Uro regardless. So yeah. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and play this, and we'll kill Teferi now, because they have 6 in here. But I think before they did that, we were waiting. So we're gonna have to go back up to 9 and play Uro next turn. This game's slipping away from us very quickly. The Blasto is just very difficult to recover from. Getting 3 for 1 by that. The fact that they had Reclamation alike, pump it up and blow at the same turn was a big deal. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Yeah, Percy, you're not wrong. You are sadly not wrong. So this is not a Season of Growth matchup. This is like all my aggressive cards on deck matchup. I think I want Adanto to beat them down. It's probably not an ambush matchup. Bonecrusher is good here in case they have, Bonecrusher's good in the event that they have fogs in their deck. Stomp beats fog. And honestly, I think I'm going to trim a feather. It's just a little bit slow here, and I'm trimming a lot of my cards that are good with it. I mean, you could probably argue Robber of the Rich is better than Adanto in this matchup. More haste threats is very, very good against Nexus of Fate, beating down ASAP. And like, they have a number of cards that we can draw off the top of their deck that'll be useful for us to cast. Correct. Yes, that's even accurate. It's not even Bernie said a woman can't be president. It's Bernie may have implied during a private conversation with Warren. Or Warren felt that he implied it. That's a good important distinction as well. Well, you know, Magic. Okay. I mean, all of our colors, Cindervines, haste threat, like, all things considered, this is like super reasonable. And that the nugget of that implication was only leaked by Warren's campaign at a time where she was starting to pull poorly. So, you know. Based on the other things that her campaign did, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a lie, just trying to do politics as usual. Think Lovestruck Beast is the end of it. Do I blow this up? Does it matter? I think I'm supposed to blow this up. I mean, that's kind of tight. I boarded out my Domri's ambushes. Maybe I'm supposed to leave those in this matchup. I almost left them in for Uro and their Planeswalkers. Afternoon greens on greens. Yeah, that's going to be enough. I'm going to do one more. I know I said this was going to be the last one, but that match kind of sucked. Nexus is Nexus, and then we mulliganed low in that second one. Try and end on a high note. I don't know. Most accusations like that end up being credible, and like the fact that Joe Biden, there's plenty of public examples of him being unable to keep his hands in physical contact to himself appropriately. Like, just makes it even more likely. Man's a creep. Yeah, win, lose, or otherwise, the Naya deck is pretty aggressive, and the matches play out quickly regardless. Yarok Field Not Close is my favorite in the format. Deck does big, impressive things while also having good tools to not die to the aggressive decks in the format. Sheriff Wiggles, thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. Rude. Yep. Yeah, Yarok Field is one of the many deck lists that you can find up on my website.
So much commotion.
Do I play this? Hey, thanks for the 5 months, awkward. I could just play the Bonecrusher Giant, and like if they shatter me, I draw a card on their turn then. That seems fine. This Narset prevents us from drawing an extra card each turn, so I can draw one card on their turn and one card on mine. It's a fine pickup. I think I am going to go ahead and kill their Planeswalker here. don't know. I guess killing the Narset's really bad in the event that they like Elspeth Conquers Deathmane. That's something to think about. Sure.
Trust me, you'll thank me later. I won't let you win.
I want to just cantrip this.
Time is much more malleable than people think.
This isn't too bad of a spot. I get to go ahead and ambush, kill their Teferi here. They have Dream Trawler here. We probably have a hard time coming back. They're just too high to race them down at this point. Yeah, I mean, Spellbreaker has trample, so I don't think the castle would really be much of an issue. We're dead to that one, though. Someone had asked earlier, how do you beat Dream Trawler? And the answer is that the Dream Trawler doesn't really beat you. It's all the other stuff that leads up to it that beats you. Like, this deck isn't an answer deck. The answer to how do you beat Dream Trawler is kill them before it's relevant, is generally speaking the approach you want to take. I think trimming Dreadhorde Arcanist here makes a lot of sense because it gets shut off by Teferi. Rest of this seems fine. Bring in Spellbreaker, Robber the Rich, Thalia, Adanto. Trimming these threats is fine, so we're bringing in a bunch of threats out of the board. Cindervines could be okay here. A lot of these decks play enchantment removal. Let's try without it. Yeah, I think Dream Trawler is a fine design. I think it's a good top end. I think the control decks having a card that's hard to beat is good for the format. Or more importantly, the control decks having a card that like closes the game out is good for the format. They scried top, so I'm gonna go ahead and rob them. Yeah, closes the game out is key. It's not like 5 mana Teferi hard to beat where it takes forever to actually end the game. Warrant this. Rude. Nah, I think God's Willing's a pretty important card here. God's Willing protects against a lot of the same enchantment removal that Cindervines would be hitting you with. You're right, it doesn't protect against sweepers, but also like can make our things. God's Willing is very important because it's a card that can give you unblockable to deal a lethal attack through a Dream Trawler.
I'll protect you.
It's an important aspect to think about.
Enough.
Would you like to shatter my sky?
I've got time.
I'm gonna do it at instant speed. Does Blast Zone have the word target anywhere on the card? Would be my question to you. Let's teach to fish, huh?
Here goes nothing.
Well, I should have cast that, leaving red mana up. Probably doesn't matter. Alright, I'm done. That was a rough end of the set. Rough end of the set. I think the control matchup's bad for this deck no matter how you slice it. I also think that's like not that big of a deal because a lot of the Field of the Dead decks have pushed that archetype out of the format. Before Field of the Dead was unsuspended, I think that matchup was more popular, but in a post-field world, that's not really what I'm worried about. I think this deck lines up fine against combo decks when you're not being mulliganing to 4, and it's fine against Field of the Dead because you can go over the top of them and punch through. This deck really excels against decks like Gruul and Merfolk, though, which are creature decks that have minimal amounts of removal where your Feather plus Reckless Rage can really stand to take over the game. Yeah, if it doesn't say target, then it doesn't target. Anaphylactic is the short answer. All right. At any rate, we've got one more historic deck coming up today before we wrap things up with some Slay the Spire. We are going to roll on into some Grixis Breach here up next. That's technically 4-color Breach with like Grixis with a good card. We'll be back in just a few minutes once I get everything flipped over for this. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere. I'm curious why you think the word each would mean target. Like, why does that English difference matter to you? It's interesting. I guess it's just worded differently than something like destroy all creatures or destroy all enchantments or something like that. Destroy all non-land permanents with converted mana cost equal to destroy each. They're interchangeable, right? As far as the English goes.